is, for many of you, final week of work or school before a long winter's break. For me, final week of doing middays before the Dan O'Donnell Show moves to afternoon drive on both News Talk 1130 WISN and 1310 WIBA in Madison on January 2nd. Welcome in. I am Dan. If you want to join us, 414-799-1130, 1-800-838-9476. Email me, DOD@iHeartMedia.com, at Dan O'Donnell Show on X, Facebook.com/Dan O'Donnell Show. We are streaming on YouTube, X, and Facebook as well. Please do download. Please do subscribe to. Please do follow the Dan O'Donnell Show podcast on iHeartRadio or wherever you listen to podcasts. Now, a week from today, technically the final Dan O'Donnell Show in middays, 9 to 11 a.m. It is the Dan O'Donnell Show Family Christmas Special. We are no longer taking submissions. I do appreciate everybody who entered their kids or grandkids or kids choir. We've got some wonderful school bands. We've got a 4-H club band that has entered the Dan O'Donnell Show Family Christmas Special for the past couple of years. The kids sound great. Now we're putting the show together, and a week from right now, in fact, Monday, December 23rd, the show will premiere. It will also air throughout the day, Christmas Eve and Christmas Day on WISN. I believe it's going to play 10 a.m. Christmas Eve morning. So if you're getting ready for the big day, the big night, you can listen to it then. You can listen to it on Christmas Eve night, which is always fun. Go into midnight mass or whatever, 9 p.m. Then again, 9 a.m. Christmas morning. I'm sure the kids will have you up by about 5:15, opening presents Christmas night at 6 p.m. as well. And of course, it will be a podcast. It will be downloadable. Just be sure you're following the Dan O'Donnell Show podcast, and I will try to send a link as soon as I get the show put together to every single one of the more than 70 different families who entered this year. I am so happy. I am so excited to put together. Let's just say I am in the Christmas spirit, as I'm sure if you're watching via the Dano Cam, you can tell. Yes, it's a full week of Christmas outfits, kicking off with today's, which I like. I got a little sweater t-shirt action going, a little bit more casual as we kick off a festive end to a great 2024. Conservatives, folks, just can't stop winning. What did Trump say? We may get tired of winning. A month after his election, I can honestly say I am not tired, nor will I ever get tired of this. A significant move reported yesterday in the ongoing war against Trump by the national news media. ABC News reached a settlement with Trump in which it's going to pay $15 million toward his presidential library for defaming him while reporting on the E. Jean Carroll civil suit. For those who don't remember, E. Jean Carroll is a writer / crazy person, and I say this with no fear of a defamation suit myself because I've got truth as a defense. E. Jean Carroll is a crazy person. I think, very strongly, in fact, and I think I can prove, she made up a story where Trump sexually assaulted her inside the Bergdorf Goodman store back in the 1990s. I say the 1990s because nobody, including E. Jean Carroll, is quite sure what year this happened, what month this happened, what time of year this happened. In fact, the only verifiable detail that she was able to give is that she has a coat. She has a coat from the day of the sexual assault that she kept all these years later. No, you can't see the coat. You can't examine the coat for any physical evidence, anything like that. She's got it in her closet. The only problem, once she finally settled on a year for the sexual assault in the crowded store to take place, that coat had not yet been released. It had not yet been made. In other words, the one verifiable fact that she put forward about this, the one thing that people could go back and check and say, hey, is she telling the truth, was most likely a lie. She claims that Trump basically forced her into a dressing room. The other problem with this story is, and has always been, the fact that you need to get a dressing room attendant to unlock the door at Bergdorf Goodman. She said, well, it's weird. There was nobody there. Nobody saw us go into the dressing room. Nobody saw us leave. Nobody saw us together. She never said a word about this until much later. Wouldn't you know it, her friends couldn't remember when she said this either. But she sues Trump for rape, for defamation, because he called her a liar, he called her a crazy person, and of course, because this case took place in New York City, he was forced to pay a massive amount of money to E. Jean Carroll. Why do I say she's a crazy person? Because she's a very, very serious woman. She is a rape victim. She has finally gotten justice decades later. What does she immediately start talking about? All the things she's going to buy with the money Trump had to give her. Now, one thing that's very important here is that Trump was not criminally convicted of raping or sexually assaulting E. Jean Carroll. This was a civil suit. He was not found guilty. He was found liable. And he wasn't found liable for rape. He was found liable for sexual abuse. Now, this may seem like a distinction without a difference, but under New York law, it is very, very clear what sexual abuse is and what rape is. The jury found Trump liable for rape and for defaming E. Jean Carroll. It most certainly did not find him liable for raping her. Yet this past March, when George Stephanopoulos of ABC News had on Nancy Mace, South Carolina Congresswoman and rape survivor, she was raped when she was 16 years old, and spoke out about this publicly during a debate over an abortion bill, Stephanopoulos had her on, and it appears he had her on specifically so he could talk about her as a rape survivor and shame her for her support of Donald Trump. She endorsed Trump. She's been a big Trump supporter. And he says, you're a rape victim yourself. How do you feel about supporting this rapist, Donald Trump, who just committed rapes?
And you've endorsed Donald Trump for president. Judges and two separate juries have found him liable for rape and for defaming the victim of that rape. How do you square your endorsement of Donald Trump with the testimony we just saw?
Okay. First of all, that's really disgusting. The only reason he had Nancy Mace on was to ask that exact question. There's no other reason. Look, folks, I've done national TV a ton. In fact, I do it pretty regularly. They have you on. They have guests on who specifically will talk about issues. In fact, every producer, every booking producer has a list of guests for specific topics. If you're talking about national security issues, you're going to bring on a retired general. You're not going to bring on, I don't know, an entertainment correspondent from the Entertainment Network. You're going to bring on somebody who you think has an interesting, relevant opinion about a given topic. What possible reason could Nancy Mace, out of all, he could have had any one of the dozens and dozens and dozens of female congresswomen to talk about this. Hey, you're a woman. Trump abused this way. He specifically had on, and it wouldn't surprise me in the least. I didn't read the full settlement announcement or the full suit that was brought, whether this was actually put out during discovery, that Stephanopoulos himself, as the host of the show and executive producer of Good Morning America, whether he specifically said, okay, we want Nancy Mace. Clearly the decision was made by somebody, most likely a booking producer, a supervising producer. We want Nancy Mace because she is a rape survivor. We're going to grill her about this. Now, Mace, kudos to her, stood firm and immediately called this out.
Well, I will tell you, I was raped at the age of 16, and any rape victim will tell you, I've lived for 30 years with an incredible amount of shame over being raped. I didn't come forward because of that judgment and shame that I felt. And it's a shame that you will never feel, George, And I'm not going to sit here on your show and be asked a question meant to shame me about another potential rape victim. I'm not going to do that.
It's actually not about shaming you. It's a question about Donald Trump.
No, you are shaming me.
You've endorsed Donald Trump for president.
Right.
Donald Trump has been found liable for rape by a jury. Donald Trump has been found liable for defaming the victim of that rape by a jury. It's been affirmed by a judge.
It was not a criminal court case, number one. Number two, I live with shame. And you're asking me a question about my political choices, trying to shame me as a rape victim, and I find it disgusting.
It absolutely is. That interview goes on, and 10 different times, according to the court filing, Stephanopoulos made the false claim about Donald Trump that juries have found him liable for rape. They did not. Defamation is very, very difficult. You used to have two separate torts or two separate actionable claims in the law, libel and slander. And everybody always gets the two confused. Producer Andrew is sitting in for producer Dave. Which one, libel or slander, is spoken? Very good. Slander is spoken, libel is written. Now it's just the overarching defamation. Whatever you do to somebody that is not true, that causes them reputational harm, that is, and it needs to be, and this is key, you need to be able to prove damages. This is why people always email me or whatever. Well, why doesn't Trump just sue? Why doesn't this person just sue? It's not that easy. We already have a litigious society. Could you imagine if you didn't actually prove the dollar amount by which you were harmed, if you could just kind of file a lawsuit? Producer Andrew had to finish up his work on our sister station 97.3 The Game before he could come. We had producer Dave, not that producer Dave, another producer Dave, the super tall producer Dave, who is 6'10". How tall is that guy? He's 6'9". Okay. It looks, I'm of average height. I'm like 5'10", 5'11". And he looks like, honest to goodness, he looks like a white shack walking down the hallway. I mean, he's much thinner. Okay, so he's half of a white shack is what tall Dave would be. But let's say I wanted to sue producer Andrew because he came in late and I was just really flustered and I didn't like it. Well, what harm did I suffer? Until I told you that producer Andrew was late getting in here because he had to finish up a show he was producing on our sister station, you would have no idea. I clearly suffered no harm. This is the reason that there aren't lawsuits left and right over everything and anything, and the ones that are filed frivolously are thrown out of court. And oftentimes the people who file those frivolous lawsuits where they can't prove any damages, they can't prove that they were actually harmed, they have to pay court costs because it deters people from doing that sort of thing. Here, however, Trump suffered a clear reputational harm. In order to file a defamation suit as a public figure, it is a much more difficult standard. You have to prove, according to a landmark Supreme Court case, New York Times v. Sullivan, you actually have to prove what's known as actual malice, which is you acted, in the simplest terms, you acted with a reckless disregard for the truth. You either intentionally lied about something, you said a statement knowing full well it was a lie. Okay, so if I were to say producer Dave is off the last, what is it, today, tomorrow, and Wednesday, he's just taking some time off. If I said producer Dave is off because we found him in an opium den, passed out with 3 Chinese women of the evening somewhere in Shanghai, and we need to get him back to the United States. I know that to be a lie, but I said it anyway. And producer Dave, who many know as Dave Michaels, afternoon host on 95.7, what is it called now? Big FM, 95.7. I almost called it oldies. We had like an email, a memo that went out that said you are never to call 95.7 the oldies station because nobody wants to think that their music is oldies. Now the 1990s songs that I grew up on are playing on the oldies station, and I totally get why you don't call 95.7 the oldies station. He's the afternoon host there. He's my producer. He fills in on WIS, and you hear him filling in for me. He meets the definition of a public figure. But if I just lie about him, knowing what I said is a lie, or if I say something, and if I say, producer Dave is a bad producer. It's a statement of opinion, right? It's my opinion he's a bad producer. He's actually not. I think I can be honest. It's going to be my final week working with him as my producer. He has so many other duties. We're going to keep him in middays. Paul, who has been producing the Mark Belling late afternoon show, is going to be my producer. We're all great friends. Dave is still going to be my news guy. He's still going to figure into the afternoon show. But I think I can say Dave is not just one of the best producers, if not the best I've ever worked with. He's also one of the best friends I've ever had in this business or out of it. He's just a great human being, and I'm going to miss working with him a whole lot. In fact, it's been a Christmas gift the last, 6-7 years that we've been together to work with him. And I do believe at some point in the future, very near future, we probably will be again. All right, with that out of the way, my statement of opinion, Dave is a good producer, Dave is a bad producer, is my opinion. If I make something that I present as a fact about Dave, but don't bother to check, if I am just reckless with whether or not Dave goes to Chinese brothels and opium dens, I can be found liable for defamation. ABC News was. George Stephanopoulos is going to be forced to read an on-air apology to Trump, and he had to pay $1 million personally to Trump, or at least to his presidential library. ABC News, $15 million per the terms of the settlement. Now, the rest of the media is freaking out. They're freaking. This is going to have a chilling effect. Oh, my goodness. Yesterday on MSNBC's Sunday show, Simone Sanders, who has been a host there, she's worked in the Biden White House, she basically repeated the exact same claim that, yes, Trump was found liable of rape. I'd watch your back, Simone. But she said, this is going to force us not to be able to lie about Republicans anymore.
This feels like it has a real chilling effect. Shout out to the Standards Department. Okay, Standards is always making sure that we are keeping the bar high and substantive and accurate. But what George Stephanopoulos said in that interview, it seems to hold up with what the judge said after the fact. And now his news organization and himself, George Stephanopoulos himself, is paying $1 million of his own money to the lawyers, and ABC at $15 million. It's insane.
It's insane that we're no longer going to be able to just lie about Donald Trump and other Republicans. Folks, this has a wider ranging effect than I think any of us realize. It is going to have a chilling effect, but not with respect to what's said, but with respect to how it's said. And the regard for the truth that those in the media, especially national media, especially those with an obvious partisan axe to grind, they'll now be forced to think twice about whether or not they repeat verifiable lies. And we will get into that aspect of this when the Dan O'Donnell Show returns in just a couple of minutes.
Merry Christmas
from all of us here at the Dan O'Donnell Show.
At Uline, the prevailing opinion is, if you don't live it, you don't believe it. The people at Uline believe in hard work, and they live it by being there 24/7 to answer your call, having 41,000 items in stock, and offering same-day shipping from 12 locations across North America. Business owners, sellers, buyers, shippers, and packers believe it. Uline is the hard-working, dependable source for your shipping and industrial supplies. Visit uline.com.
Bull riding. The perfect fusion of strength, skill, and pure willpower. Professional bull riders aren't just athletes. They're daredevils with cowboy souls. Come experience the true modern West, where 8 seconds of glory will create a lifetime of memories. It's PBR Milwaukee at Fiserv Forum Saturday, March 1st and Sunday, March 2nd. Tickets available at Ticketmaster.com and PBR.com. Hold on tight. The ride of your life is about to begin.
Jay Weber here. If you're someone who's experiencing shoulder, spine, hip, knee, or musculoskeletal pain and a total joint replacement might be in your future, think Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Find them at orthowisconsin.com.
to the Dan O'Donnell Show, and merry week before Christmas. 1 week to go until the Dan O'Donnell Show Family Christmas Special. It premieres 9 a.m. Monday, December 23rd. Hopefully all the kids who feature in it and their families are off school. I can't think of any school that's actually making the kids go on December 23rd, right? Everybody is on last day of school for, I think, pretty much every kid in the country is going to be December 20th. And I don't know, do you think a lot of them are off for the full 2 weeks? My kids' schools are off for 2 straight weeks, and they are very pumped about that. So are the teachers. Andrew says the teachers even more so, I think, than the kids. We, however, will be back in our brand new time slot Thursday, January 2nd, 2025. New year, new lineup for both WISN and WIBA. Jay Weber stays the same. Mornings 6 to 9. WIBA mornings stay the same. Then Vicki McKenna on WIBA. That's in Madison, 9 to 11. Ben Yount in Milwaukee on WISN, 9 to 11. Then Clay and Buck in both Milwaukee and Madison, 11 to 2 p.m. Central Time. Then it's Vicki McKenna in both Milwaukee and Madison before the Dan O'Donnell Show. She's on 2 to 3. My lead-in, 3 to 6. Dan O'Donnell Show, WISN, WIBA. I do hope that you will join me on this next exciting chapter of broadcast competence. Broadcast mediocrity, broadcast recklessness would be the best way to describe George Stephanopoulos and ABC News, claiming that Donald Trump was found liable for raping E. Jean Carroll when he absolutely was not. Just yesterday, it was revealed ABC News is being forced to pay $15 million in essentially a donation to the Trump Presidential Library as a settlement. A jury or a judge did not factor into this. Trump filed the lawsuit after Stephanopoulos said on Good Morning America in an interview with Nancy Mace that Mace, a sexual assault survivor, was supporting a man who was found liable for rape. He was not. He was found liable for sexual abuse. In New York, there is a big difference. It was a horrible interview all the way around. Kudos to Mace for holding her ground and calling out the disgusting nature of why she was booked on the show in the first place, to put her on the spot, to essentially shame her as a rape survivor for being a rape survivor, yet still supporting Donald Trump. But Stephanopoulos said 10 different times in that interview, Trump was found liable of rape, i.e. Trump is a rapist. It's not true. They were forced to pay. Far from having a chilling effect, hopefully this will have the effect of making the media in the second Trump administration more responsible in what it is they're reporting. Exactly 4 years ago today, we saw the Russia collusion hoax really take off. There was about a week, maybe a week and a half to 2 weeks following the 2016 presidential election where, like in the 2024 presidential election, Democrats were being honest about the reasons that they lost. Hillary Clinton was not a good candidate. People were willing to roll the dice on someone like Donald Trump. Democrats no longer represent the middle-class Americans, especially white middle-class Americans, who they're constantly calling racists. Well, following the excesses and the craziness of 2020, that got ramped up to the nth degree, where Donald Trump actually won in 2024 rather easily, because he won everywhere with every demographic. He improved his standing. Kamala Harris was an even worse candidate than Hillary was, and the die was essentially cast as soon as Joe Biden bombed out in that first debate. But in 2016, Democrats were honest with themselves and with voters for a grand total of about a week. All right, we need to change. We need to do a better job reaching people. And then all of a sudden, the Hillary campaign decided that we can't take the blame for the loss because Hillary might want to run again in 2020. So they came up with this nonsense based on a dossier that they themselves had commissioned during the campaign, but couldn't get any media outlets to bite on because every media outlet read this thing and said, well, this is a bunch of lies. All of a sudden, though, the floodgates were opened. And everyone on the left just sort of decided, well, Trump must have been colluding with the Russians, that Vladimir Putin wanted Donald Trump to be president, and this was the narrative they ran with. BuzzFeed News, which is now defunct, published the dossier in its entirety long about January 5th, 7th, somewhere in there, right before Trump was inaugurated. It might have even been in late December. I don't remember which. But after that, boom, everybody, it was Russia mania for the next 3 years. For the next 3 years. And everyone involved pretty much knew that it was a lie, but it was a lie that formed the basis of how the new Trump administration in 2017 was being covered. Everything the media reported was based for 3 straight years until the Mueller report came out in the spring of 2019. And then people forget because it was in the before times, before Democrats went really nuts and shut down the entire country over COVID the following spring. But in the spring of 2019, when the Mueller report came out and said, we have no evidence that Trump even knew what the Russians were doing in just buying Facebook ads and trying to get Americans at each other's throats over the election, there was no collusion. There was even no knowledge of what was going on. The media dropped the Russia story like that, and they immediately turned their attention to the Ukraine phone call that ultimately led to Trump's impeachment, proving that basically the strategy all along heading into the 2020 presidential election was to impeach Trump. They knew doggone well they weren't going to get 67 votes in the Senate to convict him, but they could run in 2020 saying Donald Trump was impeached. He was impeached. He was impeached. That didn't work. In 2024, the strategy was we're going to get Donald Trump convicted of crimes. None of those crimes that they alleged were actual crimes, not a single one. The state of New York, Manhattan's district attorney, Alvin Bragg, actually invented a new charge that had never been brought anywhere before. It was a creative interpretation of federal law, which can't be prosecuted by state prosecutors because it's a federal law. First time ever that it was against Trump. The strategy for dealing with Trump has always been based on similar fundamental lies. He engaged in behavior that he didn't actually engage in. Think about all the lies that have been told about Trump. It's actually kind of remarkable. As terrible as the media was to Ronald Reagan, and they said, you know, he's going to kill us all in a nuclear holocaust with the Soviets. George W. Bush, he committed war crimes. That was pretty bad. Accusing a president of war crimes, of ordering the torture of innocent Iraqis, going to war and having American young men and women die for oil. That's bad. But every single aspect of Donald Trump's life was lied about, including decades earlier in the E. Jean Carroll case. And the media knowingly and repeatedly engaged in dishonest behavior. Finally now, today, they are being forced to pay the piper, and already this ABC News suit is forcing a change in behavior. Sunny Hostin over at The View has pretty much done nothing for the past 3 weeks but read legal disclaimers whenever she has said anything about Matt Gaetz, Trump's former pick for Attorney General and now former Florida congressman. Similar situation. He was accused of some bad behavior with a woman who might be underage. And every time she referenced it, she had to come back from commercial looking incredibly dour and almost furious. She had this simmering rage. Just you could see it in her eyes, just beneath the surface. I can't believe I have to read this. But it was because ABC News, which syndicates and airs The View, was facing this lawsuit. Other networks are going to be forced to better check their sources, to better report facts. Far from being something that's bad for journalism in America and having a chilling effect, far from being bad for providing relevant information to an informed electorate or getting to an informed electorate in the first place, this might be the single best thing that could have happened because finally, it is forcing partisan smear merchants, and George Stephanopoulos was literally a partisan smear merchant in the Bill Clinton White House. It's forcing people like that, like Jen Psaki, who is coming directly from the Biden White House and placed right on camera on an MSNBC Sunday show, and I believe she's got a daily show right now. It's forcing them to report to you honestly. One of the major reasons that I exist, one of the major reasons that Rush Limbaugh and Mark Belling and the pioneers of conservative talk radio existed in the first place is because people always knew the rest of the media not only had a liberal bias, but was not giving them the full truth. Do I think that the ABC News verdict is going to remedy all of that? Absolutely not. Nothing probably can. But it is clearly going to help. And we've got an example of that, a prominent media figure suddenly realizing the truth. Next on the Dan O'Donnell Show.
I want to talk about Scott Ferguson at American Medical Plans. If you pay for your own health insurance or you're looking for coverage, do not go online looking for quotes. You'll get endless calls from call centers and they will not stop. Instead, call Scott, an expert with over 30 years' experience, and he can provide sound advice for your health insurance needs. Their plans let you pick your doctors, and it's 30 to 60% lower costs than Obamacare. The monthly premiums are independent of your income, so there'll be no surprise tax bills. If you pay for your own health insurance, own a small business, you're uninsured, you're on COBRA, or your employer coverage is just too expensive, call Scott at 833-500-PLAN. That's 833-500-7526. Or go to AmericanMedicalPlans.com. That's AmericanMedicalPlans.com. They'll customize a plan chosen and managed by you, not the government.
Welcome back to Ask Hasselus.
Your stores are employee-free?
Yes, sir.
Why?
To save you money.
How much money?
Our 40 beds from the top 5 brands start at $393.
That's pretty good.
Plus, through Monday, purchase a select Beauty Rest, Sealy Posturepedic, or Serta Perfect sleeper in any size, and Hasselus will give you a free adjustable base. Free next-day delivery, and free financing is available too.
I like the way you do business.
Get all the details and find an employee-free showroom near you at Hasselus.com.
Hey, it's Dan O'Donnell wishing you and your family a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and prosperous New Year from the Lynch family of dealerships. To celebrate, this week only, receive a free 55-inch TV with any new or used car purchase at all of Lynch's locations. That's right, huge holiday savings plus a 55-inch TV with every new or used vehicle purchase. There isn't a better time to upgrade your ride and cruise into the new year with new wheels and a new TV. Maybe you need a new pickup with four-wheel drive to get you through the snow to Grandma's house. Maybe your wife wrote to Santa asking for an upgrade to her family vehicle. Either way, check that name off your list with a new ride from Lynch. Choose from a new Buick, Chevrolet, GMC, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, or Ford, plus an incredible selection of pre-owned cars that come with peace of mind protection, including a 90-day, 3,000-mile certified guarantee. Visit shoplynch.com.
They used water to restore your wood? No wonder you need us. Well, don't worry. This time we'll do it right. You see, water raises the grain of wood, warps it, and opens splits and glue joints. It's the enemy of finished furniture. And that's why we only remove your finish chemically. It's not the cheap way, but it is the best way. For the finest in furniture finishing and heirloom restoration, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. Serving everywhere. Quality counts. MULLALY finishing.com. If you have a great piece and want to see if it's worth restoring, of course we can send someone out there. And no, we won't charge for the visit. We've been doing that for almost 50 years, along with pickups and deliveries, to get the beautiful piece that we restore back in your home safe and sound. And we'll guarantee your satisfaction to boot. So if you're looking for the finest in furniture finishing and heirloom restoration, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. We're no job's too small. Serving everywhere. Quality counts.
By now you've probably figured out what's most important to us at Semperfi is our reputation. Building a great character-driven remodeling company is actually quite easy. It's just the first 20 years that are a bit challenging. Great companies are collections of great people, and we have great people. They're the ones that helped us build our reputation, but they only come after you've built something they want to be part of. We don't necessarily have to look for good people. They come to us. And that's what you want when you hire an exterior remodeling company. Someone who's going to stand behind their work, and a company that is truly proud of their people. And it's because they do great work. And when you're ready, we'll do great work for you too. This is Brad Youngluth with Semper-Fi Roofing and Exteriors, your local, veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company. For your new roof, siding, window and door installation, or masonry work, you can count on Semper-Fi to keep you safe, warm, and dry.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry, Semper-Fi.
When they say free, they really mean check the fine print. They say free iPhone, but only if you trade in your $1,000 phone, pay $100 a month for unlimited data, and also a $35 activation fee. Now, Pure Talk, they have a better option. You'll get a brand new iPhone 14 with unlimited talk, text, 15 gigabytes of data, mobile hotspot for just $50 a month. Just dial pound 250, say the keyword save now. You'll save an additional 50% off your first month. Pure Talk.
William is one of millions of Americans who uses GoodRx to save on the cost of their prescriptions.
My oldest daughter, Camilla, 2 days old, she had to have open heart surgery. All of a sudden, she's on 5 different medications. It adds up at the end of the month. Me and the pharmacist got so tight. She said, GoodRx, save you a lot of money. Saving that extra $200-300 a month. We're able to do all these extra activities, so it puts less stress on our household, and it puts less stress on our pockets.
Download the free app or visit GoodRx.com and start saving today. GoodRx user compensated for their time. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance.
People, my people, what's up? This is Questlove. Man, I cannot believe we're already wrapping up another season of Questlove Supreme. We talked to A. Marie, Johnny Marr, Eve, Jonathan Schechter, Billy Porter, and so many more. If you haven't heard these episodes yet, hey, now's your chance. You gotta check them out. Listen to Questlove Supreme on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Open your free iHeart app and search Questlove Supreme.
ABC News is forced to pay Trump $15 million in a defamation settlement, and here's hoping that it is going to work wonders for forcing the media to be more truthful about what it is that's going on, not just with politics, but with pretty much everything. We live in an era, and have for quite some time, where it's sort of like, what's this song? Heard it through the grapevine? Believe none of what you hear and half of what you see. Ronald Reagan's policy for dealing with the Soviets was trust but verify. I believe our policy for dealing with our own national media should be distrust but verify. Just assume that what's being reported to you shouldn't be taken at face value, but rather you really do need to verify to make sure that it is accurate. One of the big ones was January 6th. We were told forever there were no undercover FBI agents or DOJ agents or anybody in that crowd. It was a dangerous conspiracy to suggest otherwise. Until they just admitted, oh yeah, there were 26 different undercover agents in the crowd at the Capitol on January 6th. And you know what? People are noticing, including Stephen A. Smith, who is one of the highest paid and most prominent figures of sports media. He hosts First Take on ESPN. He's all over as a commentator. He's got his own podcast where he talks about more than sports, and it's been fascinating to watch. Stephen A. is very good friends with Sean Hannity. They both run in the same media circles. I believe they work in the same building up until very recently. Sean was at the WABC building. Now he's at WOR. He's syndicated by a different company, no longer Premier Radio Networks. It doesn't matter. You still hear him on WISN, WIBA, but they're very good friends. And I've been watching at least clips from the Stephen A. Smith podcast, and it's become clear I don't know if he's talking to Sean too much or he's just getting kind of red-pilled on his own, but he's becoming more and more conservative. His most recent show, in which he deals with the January 6th conspiracy that wasn't, is fascinating.
The news comes amidst a bombshell report from the Justice Department that revealed the FBI had at least 26 confidential informants on the ground when the Capitol was stormed on January 6, 2021. The report says most of the informants engaged in illegal activity during the chaos. The Justice Department says only 3 of its 26 informants present had been instructed to observe potential domestic terrorist suspects on the day of the riot. The rest of the 23 appeared to have gone to the Capitol on their own accord. Upon hearing news of the report, Vice President-elect J.D. Vance posted the following on X, quote, "For those keeping score at home, this was labeled a dangerous conspiracy theory months ago," end quote. Didn't hear anything about that for the election. Didn't hear anything about that when the quote-unquote insurrection was broached by Vice President Kamala Harris as the Democratic nominee. The belief that Donald Trump was a danger to democracy and using this as a profound, illuminating bullet point to make that case. And now here we are yet again finding even more evidence to Donald Trump's claims when he articulated that the process is rigged. My big issue is that I'm really, really sick and tired of every time I turn around finding something else that the Democrats have lied about or downplayed or misrepresented along the way.
You think Stephen A. Smith is the only one who feels that way? He might be the only one in media who's being honest about it. That's one of the major reasons I think that, A, Kamala lost the election. Democrats lost everywhere. And B, and more importantly, MSNBC's and CNN's ratings have nosedived since the election. Now, you might say, well, it's because, Dan, people are tired of hearing about the election. They just want to go to Christmas and listen to Christmas music and watch Frosty the Snowman and just not think about this. And to some extent, that's true. But Fox News' ratings have remained remarkably consistent. Talk radio is doing just fine, thank you. One of the working theories is that MSNBC and CNN reported since August. Well, first of all, they reported Joe Biden is not cognitively impaired. He's just fine. They're cheap fake videos that Republicans are putting out showing him looking every bit as mentally incapacitated as any objective observer would see that he is, but that since August, Kamala Harris, she's bringing joy back to politics. She's going to win. She's going to win. She's going to win. And then she didn't. And I think a whole lot of people, mostly liberals who consume CNN and MSNBC regularly, said, well, wait a minute, we've been lied to. The worst thing that can ever happen to you as someone who speaks with any sort of credibility, whether you're a member of the media, whether you're a parent, whether you're a coach or teacher, is to lose that credibility when people say, hey, wait a minute, this person is lying to me. You can't believe them on anything after that. After that Rubicon is crossed, there's no going back. The die is cast. And I think for a whole lot of people who are already wavering on the Democrats' full embrace of crazy over the past few years, that was the death knell for their trust in anything coming from the left. We check in with Dave Spano, help you know the difference, next on The Dan O'Donnell Show.
Hi, it's Jerry Bott. You know, they say it can be lonely at the top, and as someone who's run a staff for over 30 years, if I can tell you, there's some truth to that. When a business executive doesn't have someone to talk to, it can add weight to the cross that we all carry. If you're an executive who's ready to reach out to other execs for perspective and to lift your spirit, I urge you to consider joining C-Suite for Christ. It's a faith-based organization dedicated to keep your soul healthy and strong. Attend a monthly gathering soon. It's a great networking opportunity. Or find out more at csuiteforchrist.com.
I thought you were on vacation.
I am.
At Penny Mustard?
Specifically, the Miles sofa at Penny Mustard.
It is super comfy.
That's an understatement.
Built just the way you want it.
Sounds nice.
So you're really vacationing on the Miles sofa?
I'll send you a postcard.
Postcard?
Wish you were here. P.S. Miles says hi.
The Miles sectional sofa, American-made with a solid wood frame, high-density foam, and hundreds of fabric options. Starting at $85.63 at Penny Mustard.
Showrooms in Milwaukee and Chicago.
PennyMustard.com.
Kevin Moret for Mentality Men's Health. Guys, I know you hate to feel weak. That means something different for every guy, but for most guys, it means the way they look and move through their day. Did you know that 70% of Mentality clients see an increase in their muscle mass, their muscle tone, and the way they look? This means our clients got their confidence back. If you're looking to look and feel the way you did years ago, join the over 25,000 guys at Mentality and get your confidence back. Go to mentalityhealth.com/radio.
Dan O'Donnell here for Mander Collision and Glass, now with 7 locations to serve you. It's deer season in Wisconsin, but I'm not talking about hunting. I'm talking, unfortunately, about car crashes. If you're unlucky and get into a collision with a deer, you could be entered into Mander's Hit a Deer, Win a Deer contest. That's deer as in John Deere, as in a brand new John Deere tractor mower. My friends at Mander want to add some positivity to what can be a stressful, traumatic event. So now through February 28th, anyone who hits a deer and has their vehicle repaired at any Mander Collision location will be entered into a drawing for a new Deere tractor. Hit a Deer, Win a Deer, now through February 28th at all Mander locations. Start your repair today at mandercollision.com and find out why Mander truly is your best decision after a collision.
Cheerio and happy holidays to all. We Brits do 2 things particularly well. Celebrate the Yuletide and make a fantastic cocktail. And now doing both the proper way is simpler with Bartesian. Whether your desire is a holiday-spiced old-fashioned by the Yule log or a Clausmopolitan for sipping with your besties, just pop in a capsule, select your strength, push the button, and you're off. Hurry now, old chap, as they're $50 off. Add holiday flavor to every celebration with Bartesian. Get $50 off any cocktail maker at bartesian.com/cocktail. That's BARTESIAN.com/cocktail.
Academic Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLSConsumerAccess.org, number 255368. Don't settle for a flimsy bank pre-approval. Get the pre-approval listing agents and sellers recognized as better than the rest. The rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval from AccuNet. Get yours by clicking on the blue button at ACCUNET.com.
Hey, fellow fishermen, are you ready for your next angling adventure? Well, right now, my favorite Canadian fishing destination, Ballard's Black Island, has your 20% discount offer ready for new reservations made prior to January 1st. You get lodging on a private island, professionally guided fishing for walleye, muskie, bass, northern, plus all your meals and beverages. Go to blackisland.com and make your summer reservation prior to January 1st. You'll save 20% off regular package rates. That's blackisland.com and tell them Vicki McKenna sent you. And get ready to set the hook.
William is one of millions of Americans who uses GoodRx to save on the cost of their prescriptions.
My oldest daughter, Camilla, 2 days old, she had to have open heart surgery. All of a sudden, she's on 5 different medications. It adds up at the end of the month. Me and the pharmacist got so tight. She said, GoodRx, save you a lot of money. Saving that extra $200-300 a month. We're able to do all these extra activities, so it puts less stress on our household, and it puts less stress on our pockets.
Download the free app or visit GoodRx.com and start saving today. GoodRx user compensated for their time. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance.
Marketing a modern business means finding and serving your customers 24/7 wherever they are. WISN broadcasts are a powerful platform, but there's so much more. WISN's online digital tools are completely customizable, so you can reach your ideal customer through the iHeart app or by using software that actually finds your customers at a specific location or event. These tools are precise, efficient, measurable marketing weapons that you need to use. Combine the power and cloud of WISN's broadcast and digital platforms right now. Go to newstalk1130.com, keyword digital.
Show summaries, podcasts, political tidbits,
and the hottest photo galleries in radio. All available to you whenever you demand them at newstalk1130.com.
Classical conservatism, contemporary style. It is the Dan O'Donnell Show. We're going to bump the unhinged liberal of the day to next hour because this is the last time this year and the last time in middays, I guess, we are going to be talking with Dave Spano, CEO of Annex Wealth Management, helping you know the difference. It's been a great year for the markets, Dave, especially since the presidential election. As we look back, we say Merry Christmas to you and your family. Thanks for another great year of partnering with us here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. And what are we looking forward to in 2025?
Yeah, first of all, thank you very much. It's been a great couple of years, and
look to continue our partnership. But you look back at the kind of numbers that we had in the markets these years, particularly this last 12 months. NASDAQ's up 35% and the S&P 500 up nearly 29%. So those are times to clink a glass, that's for sure, because the markets have done pretty well and expected to have profit growth again in 2025. So maybe not these kind of returns, but positive returns for sure. The other things that I would say that we need to look forward to is inflation, Dan. I mean, there's a possibility that we could get some type of resurgence in inflation. We'll see the Fed talk later this week. Probably a quarter point is baked in, but we might see a tapering of their rate cuts in 2025. So pay attention that, inflation does have resurgence. Think about things like rent and payroll. Those are longer term, Dan. So sometimes you continue to see those throughout the year. And of course, there's tailwinds. Obviously, you're seeing this morning, right now, saw a relationship between SoftBank and Donald Trump announcing that this morning at Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah, $100 billion investment. It's a Japanese tech investment firm. They're announcing $100 billion in American artificial intelligence, something, Dave, we've really made a focus here on the radio and also on our podcast, The Difference, which, by the way, continues into 2025. We're going to take, what would you say, probably a week hiatus because of the Christmas and New Year's holidays, but we will be back and better than ever. Yeah, this is something that really the incredible
100,000 jobs, perhaps, is what they're talking about. So, investing in startups, and it's going to be great. And that's the reason why. Just one more thing before we cut out is, folks, if you haven't done any tax loss selling from the profits that you need to do that right quick. So happy holidays and Merry Christmas to everybody. And we're going to talk to you in 2025.
Absolutely love it. Merry Christmas to you and everyone at Annex. Dave, we will be recording The Difference right after this radio show ends at about 11 o'clock. Usually the episodes are posted by 11:30, certainly before noon. You can find that at iHeartRadio or wherever you listen to podcasts. President Trump scheduled to speak after the top of the hour. We will listen to that and much more here on the Dan O'Donnell Show.
It's Christmas time.
News that's factual, fair, and balanced. This is continuing coverage on News Talk 1130 WISN, Milwaukee.
Good morning, I'm Ted Allen. A crash on I-94 killed one person and sent another to the hospital with serious injuries Saturday night. It happened near East Grange Avenue, where sheriff's deputies say an Oak Creek man sped onto the interstate, clipped a car, hit the retaining wall, then careened across all lanes of traffic before hitting the median. The man died at the scene while his passenger, a woman from Franklin, was rushed to the hospital with serious injuries. The sheriff's office says it's investigating the lead-up to the crash. Add Democratic lawmakers in Wisconsin to the list of people promising to fight President-elect Trump's plan to deport illegal immigrants. Assembly Democratic leader Greta Neubauer said on Upfront yesterday she plans to stand with Governor Evers and Attorney General Josh Kaul to oppose Trump's plan to deport criminal illegal aliens. Neubauer said it's wrong to remove people who've lived and contributed to our communities for so long. Neubauer will have more Democratic votes in the next session, but still not enough to outvote Republicans. Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas says Americans shouldn't be concerned about a recent surge in drone sightings across the country. Mayorkas told ABC's This Week thousands of drones are flown every day for a variety of personal and commercial uses. He noted rules have recently been changed, allowing them to fly at night. That could be why more people are noticing them. Checking the holiday automotive of Fond du Lac Sports scoreboard, the Bucks face the Oklahoma City Thunder for the NBA Cup tomorrow night in Las Vegas after defeating the Atlanta Hawks in semifinal action Saturday night. From the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin News Center, I'm Ted Allen on Wisconsin's most listened to radio station, News Talk 1130 WISN.
Have you seen them yet?
Seen what?
4 different ways to say I love you.
I'd love to see those. Show me the list.
What list?
The list of 4 different ways to say I love you.
Let's start over.
Where are you going, Monica?
I'm going to get the 4 different ways to say I love you.
Sarah, imagine a box of assorted chocolates.
Okay.
When you open the lid, what do you see?
I see a guy sitting on a park bench saying, life is like a box of chocolates.
But what are the shapes of the chocolates?
There are 4 different shapes.
Here they are.
Those are gorgeous.
4 diamond pendants covered in diamonds.
Almost like they were dipped in diamonds.
And each diamond was created inside a miniature star.
But you'd have to be rich to afford one of these.
Choose the diamond pendant you like best. $148.
I love Kessler's.
Everyone loves Kessler's.
For the location of the Kesslers nearest you, visit KesslersDiamonds.com.
Here's the latest forecast presented by AdventKnows.com from the Fox 6 weather experts.
A foggy and misty start to your Monday. A dense fog advisory is issued through 9 o'clock this morning. Fog will dissipate this afternoon as winds start to pick up out of the south. High temperatures in the low to mid 40s, but dropping back near average into the 30s as we head through the rest of the week. I'm Fox 6 meteorologist Lisa Michaels.
This report is sponsored by Pearl's Specialties Olives in the Sunny Yellow package. Pearl's Specialties Olives are bursting with flavor and add the perfect Mediterranean twist to everyday meals and snacks. Rock your recipes with Pearl's Specialties Olives. For quality you can trust, look for the Sunny Yellow package at your local Pick and Save.
Hello, commercial customers. This is Michael Lynch from Lynch Truck Center, and it's end of the year tax planning season. We've continued to work hard sourcing over 400 of the best GM, Hino, and Isuzu commercial trucks from all over the country. Most are ready to go, and some are ready for your custom upfit. The best part? All of our trucks qualify for the Section 179 tax deduction for 2024. Now, I know you're busy running your business, but we've made it easy. Go to lynchtruckcenter.com, select your truck, and click on the green button on each truck page to instantly see potential tax savings. For example, if you buy a $50,000 truck at a 22% tax rate, you'll get $11,000 in potential tax savings. You can deduct 100% of the purchase price from your 2024 taxes. Essentially, the truck will only cost you $39,000. Remember, we are in the truck business, not accountants. So be sure to verify these tax savings with your tax professional. Visit lynchtruckcenter.com today. We won't disappoint you.
Our favorite 4-letter word. Free. Download the free iHeartRadio app for all your music, radio, and podcasts.
Well, that's why you have to check out our website. We're pretty proud of our before and after photos because they show off just how good we really are. I can confidently say that whatever you bring us, we're going to use every bit of magic we have to turn it into a one-of-a-kind work of art. So if you're looking for the finest in furniture finishing and heirloom restoration, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. Serving everywhere. Quality counts. Mullally, finishing.com. If it's worth restoring, we're going to tell you. If it's not worth the cost of restoring, then we're going to give you an honest answer. You don't stay in the furniture finishing business for nearly 50 years unless you're honest and talented. Luckily, we're both, and that means all of your expectations will be met. So if you want only the finest in furniture finishing and heirloom restoration, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. We're no job's too small. Serving everywhere. Quality counts.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
Be sure to listen to the NX Wealth Management Investment Show Saturday mornings at 11 and Sunday afternoons at 1 on News Talk 1130 WISN. NX provides its expertise to arm listeners with the knowledge and tools to invest wisely. NX Wealth Management. Know the difference.
The WISN Radio Revolution will offer evolution in 2025. Our new lineup is built on the rock-solid foundation of The Jay Weber Show morning 6 to 9. Just before fresh insights and opinions from Benjamin Yount, 9 to 11. Clay and Buck continue to dominate 11 to 2, followed by the energy of Vicky McKenna 2 to 3. And then Dan O'Donnell moves to Afternoon Drive, expanding his show to a full 3 hours from 3 to 6. It's the hosts you know and trust, making up the 2025 lineup on News Talk 1130 WISN.
President-elect Donald Trump is scheduled to speak at Mar-a-Lago? I can never tell. He's got the American flags behind the podium up. It's either Trump Hotel in New York or it's Mar-a-Lago. My money would be on Mar-a-Lago, but I'm not entirely sure. He's going to speak somewhere, and we are likely going to dip into that at least a little bit here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. However, we have got a ton to get to in this second hour of the program. Thank you, producer Andrew. He is at Mar-a-Lago. I should have guessed. Tons of stuff to get to still. 414-799-1130, our adventknows.com talk and text line. If you would like to join us, 1-800-838-9476, toll free talk and text line. Email dod@iheartmedia.com, at Dan O'Donnell Show on X and Facebook. Subscribe to the Dan O'Donnell Show podcast on iHeart Radio. A reminder, a week from today, Dan O'Donnell Show Family Christmas Special, the last official Dan O'Donnell Show in middays. I guess that's not technically accurate. We will have fill-in hosts after Christmas. As I always do, I'm taking the week between Christmas and New Year's off. So I will be off on Thursday the 26th, Friday the 27th, and then Monday the 30th, New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, as well as Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. Company holidays, no regular programming anyway. And then on January 2nd, I am back at a new time slot, 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. on both WISN and WIBA. We will still be streaming the show live via the DanoCam on social media. In fact, we are going to be expanding to different social media platforms. Look for big changes ahead in the new year. I am so excited to join all of you, hopefully, who I hope can listen to us, can watch us, can join us at our new time, 3 o'clock Central, Monday through Friday. People have been asking me, will there still be a Friday afternoon show? Will we still have rotating hosts on Fridays? I tried to get that in my contract, only having to work 4 days a week, but to no avail. The New Jersey and New York drone scandal is quite possibly one of the dumbest things I think I've ever seen. The federal government has now come out and said exactly what I was trying to tell all of you, citing someone who would know. These are 737 MAX aircrafts. Who's the person who would know? A pilot who flies the 737 MAX into New York and New Jersey from his home base of O'Hare International Airport. He said, look, Dan, I am intimately familiar with these. The pattern that people are seeing, the lights, these are exactly the 737 MAX. They sound different than traditional aircraft, the new versions of them. The light pattern is different, and people are just mistaking them. Now, some of these sightings are indeed drones. Do you know what type of drones? I am almost convinced. I have no inside sources or anything like that. These are personal drones that people are putting in the sky with the express purpose of freaking out people on the ground. In other words, they're copycats. This is the sort of thing, when this sort of hysteria gets going, you always get copycats. The most recent example that I can remember in the South in 2016, maybe 2015, 2016, it was 7, 8, 9 years ago, where there were the creepy clown sightings all over the place. Yes. Producer Andrew does not remember this. There were just creepy clowns showing up in random places and scaring the heck out of people who would see them. And then the clowns would disappear into the woods. People would be terrified. There were pictures. There were videos. My pet theory is that it started as a viral marketing campaign for the movie It, the Stephen King adaptation, which came out at around the same time, almost the exact time that the clown sighting started, and it just got out of control. And then what happened was there were all sorts of copycats in every other state where there were sightings. It created a mass hysteria, and we're seeing almost the exact same thing. The federal government, the national news media, is now trying. Now, the national news media was first hyping this idea that it's Iranian drones in American airspace. It almost certainly is not. Federal government is saying, the FAA is saying, look, most of these are airplanes. Most of these are just misidentified planes. Now, however, we've got the copycat effect. The Wall Street Journal has a fascinating editorial on this because it gets to the heart of what we were talking about primarily in the first hour of this program. It was sort of the thread, the theme that underpinned our entire discussion thus far. The waning trust, not just in media, not just in government, but in institutions themselves. Since 2020, those in power did irreparable harm to themselves by telling us first, lockdowns and masks work, the vaccines will stop COVID in its tracks, and then the most ridiculous of all, as soon as the George Floyd riots started, well, you can go out and riot and that won't spread COVID, but if you get 4 people together for your grandma's funeral, that's illegal and you should never ever do it. Wall Street Journal, the loss of public trust in U.S. institutions is well chronicled. And for an example of its cost, consider the national mini panic over unidentified aerial objects. No one in America seems to believe what anyone in authority says about them, and unproven claims are filling the vacuum. Thousands of Americans who aren't cranks have seen drones or what they think are drones overhead. New Jersey, of all places, is a hotbed of sightings for reasons no one has been able to explain. But sightings have occurred across the Northeast, as well as in California. Military facilities and critical infrastructure sites seem to be targets if the eyewitnesses are right. Yet no one in Washington seems to be able to convincingly explain the sightings. A joint statement Thursday by the FBI and Department of Homeland Security said, "We have no evidence at this time that the reported drone sightings pose a national security or public safety threat or have a foreign nexus." The statement added, "Historically, we have experienced cases of mistaken identity where reported drones are in fact manned aircraft or facilities. We are supporting local law enforcement in New Jersey with numerous detection methods, but have not corroborated any of the reported visual sightings with electronic detection." To the contrary, upon review of available imagery, it appears that many of the reported sightings are actually manned aircraft operating lawfully. Yet the unexplained sightings persist. One caused Stewart International Airport in New York's Hudson Valley to shut down its runways for an hour on Friday night. Governor Kathy Hochul demanded answers from the Biden administration. Former Maryland Governor Larry Hogan, not known as a showboater, says he saw a flurry of aerial objects above his home in Davidsonville, Maryland. Members of Congress are demanding answers or offering their own theories. Representative Jeff Van Drew, a New Jersey Republican, thinks the drones may have come from an Iranian mothership off the coast. The Pentagon rejects that claim. John Brannick, a GOP state senator in New Jersey, told News Nations it must be something going on that they can't tell us because they're so fearful of what the public's going to do when they hear that the drones are here and what they're doing. This is how deep the suspicion runs. And when that happens, conspiracy theories fill the air as much as drones do. One Twitter account with some 192,000 followers posted on X that we are bleeped. The drones are Project Blue Beam. We admit to not being fluid on this theory, but apparently Project Blue Beam refers to a plan by governments and the military to stage celestial events as a pretext to impose authoritarian rule. Don't beam us up, Scotty. We'd ignore this stuff, except millions of people might believe it. That's the world we live in. And sorry to say, the reason isn't merely the result of conspiracists or crackpots who will exploit doubt for attention. The Biden administration has squandered its credibility to the point that it's rational not to believe what it says. Remember the Chinese spy balloon that traveled across the continental U.S.? The administration downplayed its importance while it was courting better relations with Beijing, only to shoot it down over the Atlantic. It also downplayed Representative Mike Turner's warning based on solid intelligence about the danger from a potential Russian nuclear blast in space. The administration failed for months to be candid about its migrant flights from the border to the U.S. interior. And for months, it covered up the truth about President Biden's declining mental and physical fitness, only to have it exposed in a debate. The government's attempt to censor alternative views about COVID shutdowns during the Trump administration also spread mistrust. The more Americans don't trust their government, the more panic or protests are possible. On Sunday, New York Governor Kathy Hochul said the feds are deploying high-tech detention gear to her state to help with the drone swarms. The feds need to explain to Congress and the public with more specificity what is really going on. But the larger need is for a government Americans can trust. That from the Wall Street Journal editorial board this morning. President-elect Donald Trump is speaking at Mar-a-Lago as I suspected it was going to be. He's taking a victory lap over the news that the Japanese bank and investment firm SoftBank is investing $100 billion in the United States, creating the potential for 100,000 jobs in AI. Right now, we have the SoftBank CEO speaking. Should we go to that? Let's dip into that very quickly.
To commit this $100 billion and 100,000 jobs into the United States. This is double of last time, as President Trump said. Because I say, oh, President Trump is a double-down president. I'm going to have to double down, you know, $100 billion and 100,000 jobs. This is, you know, my confidence level, because that has doubled down. So I am truly excited to make this happen. And of course, business is important, technology is important. But one more thing I'm really hoping is that this President Trump would make the world, bring the world into peace again. That's my additional hope. And I think he will actually make it happen. So anyway, I'm excited to go, and we were discussing, and President Trump said, Masa, you know, double down is not enough. Maybe, you know, go for more, right?
That's what I'm going to ask him right now. Would you make it $200 million instead of he can actually, believe it or not, he can actually afford to do that. Would you do that?
Well, my promise is 100, but, you know, he's now asking to do more. I think, you know, with your leadership, my partnership with you, with your support, I will try to make it happen.
That's good.
All right.
200. He'll make it happen. 200 billion investment.
Now, of course,
he is a great negotiator.
The media will say President Trump just grabbed, that's Masayoshi Son, the CEO of SoftBank, with President Trump. He just grabbed him in a little bear hug. And of course, the media will be reporting President-elect Trump assaults SoftBank CEO, strong arms him into a $200 billion extortion scheme for, you know, it's very nice to see such a pro-business president, and this is what the rest of the world is seeing. Not only do we have an incredible gold mine that I believe the United States is sitting on with respect to the incredible innovation in artificial intelligence technology, all of those innovations, folks, and everyone around the globe knows it, are coming from the U.S. The last great technological revolution that we saw was in the smartphone. That was 15, 16, 17 years ago now. I believe the first smartphone, the Apple iPhone, in 2007. That revolutionized the economy. We're seeing another one, the last one before that. Social media was also at around the same time. Those were kind of these tandem developments. Everybody was connected via social media, via their smartphones. Now we're seeing the next great revolution is in artificial intelligence. President Trump, and everybody knows that all of the advancements from the internet back in the 1990s, the last great technological innovation, 1990s, early 2000s, when the world got connected, to the next one, which was the smartphones and the digital revolution in terms of portability of digital tech. And now we're seeing artificial intelligence, that next great leap forward. All of those innovations, every single one of them, they didn't come from Japan. Remember, tech used to all come from Japan. When I was growing up, oh, the Japanese have this. Nintendo, it's Japanese. Oh, my God, look at this. Now it's all in the United States. All of the intellectual property is American, and the rest of the world is, if it has the incentive to do so with respect to tax benefits for doing so, with respect to the favorability of government for doing so, the federal government saying we want this sort of investment in American tech and American-made goods, it will do so. And you're already starting to see this. Let's go back to President Trump, now speaking from Mar-a-Lago.
And the number of soldiers that are being killed on both sides is astronomical. I've never seen anything like it. And rapidly, I get reports every week, and it's not even, it's like
the president talking about the ongoing war in Ukraine.
Nobody's seen anything like it. It's a very flat surface, a very flat land. That's why it's great farming land. It's the breadbasket for the world, actually. But it's very flat, and there's nothing to stop a bullet but a body. There's no protection, no nothing, and what's happening there is far worse than people are reporting for both sides. So we're going to do our best, and we've been doing our best, and we'll see what happens. But since the election, I've been working every day to put the world at ease a little bit, to get rid of the wars. We had no wars when I left office, and now it's the whole world is blowing up. But there's great optimism, and you saw that by SoftBank. Starting on day one, we'll implement a rapid series of bold reforms to restore our nation to full prosperity. We're going to go full prosperity and to build the greatest economy the world has ever seen, just as we had just a short time ago. We had it in my term. We had the greatest economy that the world had seen. We were blowing away everybody. Our country was doubling up on China, doubling up on everybody, and everybody knows it. And then we had to slow it down with COVID, unfortunately, at the end. But even then, I gave it back with a substantial increase of the stock market, bigger than it was pre-COVID, so it was pretty amazing. Already preparations are underway to slash massive numbers of job-killing regulations, eliminating 10 old regulations for every new one. You put a new regulation on, you have to get rid of 10, and we'll be able to do it. And that was about the percentage we had. We cut more regulations than any president has ever cut, by far, actually, by approximately 5 times. Some of those regulations, unfortunately, were put back on, but we'll catch up very quickly. We'll catch up with it. One of the things I'd like to ask the Biden administration, as you probably heard, there are 2 events that took place. We're talking about a friendly takeover, a friendly transition, as they like to say. This is a friendly transition, and it is, but there are 2 events that took place that I think are very terrible. One is that if people don't come back to work, come back into the office, they're going to be dismissed, and somebody in the Biden administration gave a 5-year waiver of that, so that for 5 years, people don't have to come back into the office. It involved 49,000 people. For 5 years, they don't have to go. They just signed this thing. It's ridiculous. So it was like a gift to a union, and we're going to obviously be in court to stop it. The other thing is really terrible. We spent a tremendous amount of money on building the wall. The wall was designed specifically by the Border Patrol because it's very hard to climb. They need to have see-through. They need it to be steel because you can't cut. It's very powerful steel. It's very hard steel. It's a special type of steel, but very, very hard to cut. Inside the steel, as you know, we pour concrete, and that's a grade 10 concrete, which is a very strong concrete, very as though you were building about a 60-story building. It's very powerful concrete. They've made tremendous technology advances in the word concrete. Who would think that? But I know that from the construction industry. Today, what you can do with concrete is incredible. So we have a very strong concrete. And then we have a rebar. We put rebar inside the concrete, and the rebar likewise is very hard to cut. So it's a very expensive process, very expensive wall. And then we put a anti-climb plate on the top. You saw that. And I didn't like the look of it, but then when I watched, we had people testing. We had mountain climbers actually testing, and they were not able to get over the anti-climb plate. So I said, all right, I guess we're going to put it on. That plate on top, which I never loved the look of it, but it works so unbelievably well, you have to do it. So we spent a lot of money on building it, and we have hundreds of miles that we put up. A lot of people don't realize, but we did 571 miles of wall. That's why we had such good records, in addition to the fact that Mexico helped us with their military. They kept people out, and they were actually very good under the past leader. But now we ordered an additional 200 miles of wall. It's very expensive, and now it's about double the price of what it would have been 6 years ago. And the administration is trying to sell it for 5 cents on the dollar, knowing that we're getting ready to put it up. And what they're doing is really an act. It's almost a criminal act. They know we're going to use it, and if we don't have it, we're going to have to rebuild it, and it'll cost double what it cost years ago, and that's hundreds of millions of dollars, because you're talking about a lot of wall. I built much more than I said I was going to build, but then after it was built, I said, you know, we can do some more because it's sort of like water, people flow through, and that will pretty much really take care of it. And what happened is they just, as you see, they're trying to sell it for 5 cents on the dollar, and that's really that has nothing to do with a smooth transition. That has to do with people really trying to stop our nation. And all it means really is that we're going to spend hundreds of millions of dollars more, not even talking about the time. Time would be pretty long, but we'll spend hundreds of millions of dollars more on building the same wall that we already have. And people have already come back to us that have deals at 5 cents and 4 cents, and one guy at 3 cents on the dollar, and they offered to sell it back to us at more money than it costs us to build substantially. Can you believe it?
All right, that is President-elect Donald Trump. Man, I miss these press conferences where you can't get a word in edgewise. Gotta love it. That was one question about, I believe, the Ukraine-Russian war, and 12 minutes later, he calls it the weave, ladies and gentlemen. He weaves in and out of topics, and it's great, except if you're a radio host with breaking news to report and commercials that we are legally required to play. Major story that is breaking regarding the Catholic Church just a couple of days before Christmas time here in Milwaukee. We will get into that coming up next. Dan O'Donnell here for Mander Collision and Glass, now with 7 locations to serve you in Waukesha, Milwaukee, Muskego, Brookfield, Heartland, Cedarburg, and their Waukesha Fleet and Specialty location. If you have a business with a multi-vehicle fleet, Mander is the place to go because their team understands you can't have a vehicle out of service for a while, so they work quickly and efficiently to get you back on the road and serving your customers as fast as possible through expedited fleet repairs. Mander has been serving their customers and their community for well over 20 years, and they know that the key is expert workmanship and fast turnaround times combined with the sort of customer service that you'll only find at a family-owned local business like Mander. Start your repair today at mandercollision.com and find out for yourself why Mander truly is your best decision after a collision.
Menards is the one-stop shop for huge savings on new, energy-efficient appliances. Upgrade your home today and save big on top appliance brands including KitchenAid, Maytag, Whirlpool, Amana, and Criterion. We carry the largest in-stock selection of home appliances starting at the lowest prices and ready to take home today. Check out our entire selection of home appliances on Menards.com. Plus, view the weekly flyer for many other great deals happening now.
More season's greetings to you all from Menards.
Trump's victory doesn't mean our financial worries are over. Far from it. Hi, I'm Dr. Ron Paul here. For the past few decades, I believe our nation's economic foundation has crumbled, all due to Washington's addiction to spending and currency manipulation. These problems won't vanish overnight, and that's why I've supported gold IRAs for years. These accounts let you hold tax-advantaged gold with no penalties or taxes when you transfer your IRA or 401k. Birch Gold Group is the leader in gold IRAs. They understand true wealth preservation means breaking free from the system. To learn more, get a free info kit on gold IRAs by texting the word SECURE to 989898. That's SECURE to the number 989898. Secure your savings with gold today. Text SECURE to 989898 now for your free info kit on gold IRAs from Birch Gold.
Message and data rates may apply. Critical events drive critical times, and these are the times to learn critical lessons. Recent events should teach us that the struggle for liberty is ongoing, and forces that are misguided or sinister stand at the ready to take our liberties away. At News Talk 1130 WISN, we are dedicated to identifying the risks to our freedoms as they arise, and to alert you to those risks, valuing our liberties and our rights. This is News Talk 1130 WISN.
Breaking news just in a couple of minutes ago. Catholic Charities here in Milwaukee has been the victim of fraud and embezzlement by now former employees. The email went out to supporters of the organization about a half hour ago. Earlier this year, Catholic Charities discovered that certain former employees engaged in unauthorized use of agency funds for their and others' personal benefit. Upon this discovery, their access to the office, agency accounts, and financial systems were disabled, and they were promptly terminated. Catholic Charities immediately notified and continues to assist law enforcement in their investigation and hopes for a just resolution to this egregious breach of trust. The final amounts involved in this fraud will be known at the conclusion of law enforcement's investigation. For fiscal years 2023 and 2024, when it appears the fraud was most active, anticipated losses are approximately $1.7 million. As disheartening as this news is, we want to be clear that no programs or services were affected. Catholic Charities and its Board of Trustees has taken several important steps to understand how this happened and to strengthen the organization. While we are far from the first to experience a violation like this, it nevertheless has been difficult to process given we serve the poorest of the poor. We are heartbroken that this happened and have to share this news with you. We ask that you hold in your hearts all those served by the wonderful staff at Catholic Charities. is that irrelevant part, an email sent to supporters of Catholic Charities about a half hour ago. The losses are probably going to be roughly $2 million or more. Catholic Charities, for those unfamiliar, it's a social services agency that does, as they said, work with the poorest of the poor. They try to get people back on their feet. This is the sort of thing that we used to rely on the church and other charitable organizations for, but increasingly government has taken the lead on social services programs to, I think, the detriment of all. And look, this is something that happens. Law enforcement is getting to the bottom of this. Of course, I have no idea who the employees are, what sort of work they were involved in with Catholic Charities, what they did for the organization. Clearly, they had access to the funds, to the donations that were coming in. And boy, oh boy, to have to report this a week and a day before Christmas Eve is just devastating. So here's hoping that now, I will say, most organizations have better protections for this, but it does happen. The most recent notable example was probably 10, 15 years ago, Koss headphones, where, do you remember Sue Sashiva? I don't know why I still remember her name, but she embezzled millions from that. She was given almost sole authority to handle Koss's financing, and she had a massive shopping addiction. She filled storage units full of goods that she was just buying. It was $30 million. No, it wasn't. Producer Andrew, is $30 million that woman embezzled from Koss? Based on the Google AI overview. Well, we know we don't just trust that at face value. Andrew will look into. I know it was it was above 10 million. I know that. It was a lot of money that she embezzled. What was it? Oh, my goodness. NBC News reports that over the period of 11 years, she had embezzled $34 million. Wow. Fortunately, for Catholic Charities, the number wasn't nearly that much. But this is people literally taking money out of the bank accounts of the people who most desperately need it. Not bank accounts, but you know what I'm saying. Money out of the pockets. And now's the time of year when we think of those less fortunate and we want to give more. And it's just unfortunate that now I think people are going to think, well, is my money safe with Catholic Charities? I can tell you absolutely unequivocally it is. An organization that finds out about this is going to be, they're going to lock that thing down like Fort Knox. Though it does speak to, especially this time of year, as people are putting together their financials for tax season coming up, they're doing year-in review stuff. It is so important. If you have a small business, if you have an entity where there is essentially one person or just a couple of people who have unfettered access to company funds, you had better trust those people implicitly. You had better make sure that your money, your lifeblood, your financial lifeblood is secure. I would strongly encourage people, and I know the generosity of people. This is, by the way, Catholic Charities in Milwaukee. This was coming from the Milwaukee Catholic Charities, not the national arm. I would hope that you find it in your hearts to make a donation so Catholic Charities can continue to do the incredible work that they do. President-elect Trump still doing his news conference from Mar-a-Lago. We'll try to dip into that some more right here on the Dan O'Donnell Show.
Hello, commercial customers. This is Michael Lynch from Lynch Truck Center, and it's end of the year tax planning season. We've continued to work hard sourcing over 400 of the best GM, Hino, and Isuzu commercial trucks from all over the country. Most are ready to go, and some are ready for your custom upfit. The best part? All of our trucks qualify for the Section 179 tax deduction for 2024. Now, I know you're busy running your business, but we've made it easy. Go to lynchtruckcenter.com, select your truck, and click on the green button on each truck page to instantly see potential tax savings. For example, if you buy a $50,000 truck at a 22% tax rate, you'll get $11,000 in potential tax savings. You can deduct 100% of the purchase price from your 2024 taxes. Essentially, the truck will only cost you $39,000. Remember, we are in the truck business, not accountants. So, be sure to verify these tax savings with your tax professional. Visit lynchtruckcenter.com today. We won't disappoint you.
For more information about contests on News Talk 1130 WISN, go to newstalk1130.com/rules.
Jay Weber here. If you're someone who's experiencing shoulder, spine, hip, knee, or musculoskeletal pain and a total joint replacement might be in your future, think Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Find them at orthowisconsin.com. At Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin, their physicians are committed to providing the highest quality of joint care and specialize in same-day total joint replacements at their own ambulatory surgery center in Pewaukee. You can find them at orthowisconsin.com. orthowisconsin.com. Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. There is a difference.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
Patrick and Monica initially chose a bank to get pre-approved and provide financing for the purchase of their first home. But they were getting a bad feeling when a week after their offer was accepted, the bank still hadn't locked in their rate, nor had the appraisal been ordered. Monica shared her concerns with a friend who happened to be a multi-time AccuNet client. That led to Monica connecting with one of our senior loan consultants the same day, and after gathering some information and reviewing options, we locked in their rate right then and there with loan costs $3,600 lower than what the bank had quoted. The appraisal was ordered right away too, and the loan closed on time just 3 weeks later. We also noticed an oversight in the contract that led to a $3,000 credit from the seller. You can get a generic pre-approval and average or worse service from a bank, or you can get the kind of fast service, advice, attention to detail, and savings that made Monica and Patrick AccuNet's latest raving fans. All you got to do to get started is click on the blue button at AccuNet.com. That's ACCUNET.com.
It was a doozy, all right. Apparently, things got a little out of hand, as evidenced by the job description.
Repair heel marks on conference table.
You get the picture. Office party, a few too many drinks, and a gal who felt compelled to use the top of the conference table as a dance floor. And as you expected, we showed up on site and made that tabletop as good as new. By golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. Serving everywhere. Quality counts. MULLALY finishing.com. Well, if you haven't heard me bragging by now, we're darn good. Actually, my dad has no qualms about saying we're the best. And if you're skeptical, I understand. But all you have to do is go to MullallyFinishing.com to learn why we're great at what we do and see lots of before and after photos that show off our impressive work. So if you're looking for a name you can trust, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. Serving everywhere. Quality counts. MULLALY finishing.com.
Do you know you need a new roof? Of course you do. For award-winning service and a free consultation, visit Klaus Roofing Systems by BuckBuckley.com. And remember, put a Klaus on your house.
The time has come.
Yes, the time has come to do what you need to do.
You've put it off as long as you can, but the time has come to choose a Christmas gift for the woman you love.
It needs to be something that will fit perfectly.
Something she will wear constantly.
Something she will love.
Something you can buy today and take home today.
Because you ran out of time. Christmas is upon us.
It's time for you to buy a fabulous pair of diamond stud earrings.
A fabulous pair.
Kessler's has natural diamonds created in the heart of the earth.
And newborn diamonds created in the heart of a star.
And when you buy from Kessler's, you can always trade your Kessler's natural diamond studs in for a larger pair.
We have diamond studs for a few $100s.
And diamond studs for several $1,000s.
2-carat total weight natural diamond studs are just $5,998.
She's going to be extremely happy when she sees what you bought for her.
And that's a good thing.
A very, very good thing.
Find the Kesslers nearest you at KesslersDiamonds.com.
Hey, Pete here with USA Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. USA is also a proud dealer of the Bryant brand. Wow, Old Man Winter sure is hitting fast. So to help out, I'm going to waive the trip charge on all service calls. And I'm going to give you a tune-up for 25% off. Also, get up to $800 in rebates on select Bryant gas furnaces and Focus on Energy. So call the office at 262-662-2626. And remember, when you need heat, call Pete at USA Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. May God bless your day and like us on Facebook.
Alleviate your pain, rejuvenate your life.
Rejuvenex.com.
Your holiday to-do list can be longer than Santa's. Between the shopping, the decorating, kids' concerts, and, oh yeah, keeping the magic alive. iHeartRadio is here to bring the joy to your busy days with commercial-free Christmas stations like iHeart Christmas. Or dozens of playlists so you can pick and match your holiday vibe. Open your free iHeart app and search Holiday to explore stations, playlists, and more.
From our family to yours, have a very Merry Christmas.
We begin the week before Christmas here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. Coming up on Thursday, it's become a tradition. Ask Dan anything. I have no agenda for Thursday's show. Obviously, if there's big news, we will have to cover that, except to take your questions. Anything and everything about the big move to afternoon drive, personal questions, not too personal, you sickos. Anything you've always wanted to know, that's coming up on Thursday. We'll be playing some Christmas songs. We will be just having a lot of fun, a lot of Christmas stuff throughout the entire week here on the Dan O'Donnell Show, leading up to the big day next Wednesday. And of course, the Dan O'Donnell Show Family Christmas Special premieres 9 a.m. a week from today. President Trump speaking to reporters in a press conference at Mar-a-Lago. Let's go back to the president-elect.
And with the executives and Oz, all of them, we spent more time talking about that than anything else.
Thanks, President Trump. What about the polio vaccine?
Well, I'm a big believer in it, and I think everything should be looked at, but I'm a big believer in the polio vaccine, the Salk vaccine.
Do you think schools should mandate vaccines? Do you think schools should mandate vaccines?
I don't like mandates. I'm not a big mandate person. So, I was against mandates. Mostly Democrat governors did the mandates, and they did a very poor thing. It was, in retrospect, they made a big mistake having to do with the education of children. They lost like a year or 2 years of their lives. The mandate was a bad thing. I was against the mandate.
So is that something you'd want to... Mr. President?
Yes, please.
Do you expect Ron DeSantis to appoint Laura Trump to Senator Marco Rubio's seat?
No, I don't. I probably don't, but I don't know. Ron's doing a good job. That's his choice, nothing to do with me. Laura's unbelievable. I mean, she was incredible. The job she did at the RNC as chairman, along with Michael Whatley, the combination, but I can just speak for Laura. She is so highly respected by women. I mean, even her workout routines are through the roof. She lifts 150 pounds. I don't know how the hell she does it. She's a bad example for men and women's sports because I wouldn't be able to beat her, I don't believe. I'd try like hell. But, no, she's an incredible woman. And, it's funny. People oftentimes talk about nepotism. I never had, when I put her there, people said, how did you get her to do it? She could have run for the Senate in North Carolina. Ted Budd would be the first to say, and he wouldn't have run. Nobody would have run. And she just said, no, I want to really focus on my children. When the election, and my family, she has a great family, when the election started getting closer, I asked her, would she go to Washington and work on the, as chairman of the committee along with Michael Whatley. And they did such an unbelievable job, especially on cheating. They stopped it, or at least they stymied it. Too big to rig.
Great point.
And we won in a landslide. We won tremendously. She did an amazing job. Now Ron is going to have to make, because Marco has been really a star already, and we haven't started, but we see signs of from some people, or very early we see signs of stardom, and Marco has done incredibly. He's sort of born for it. It was such an easy decision. The Marco decision was such an easy, but he leaves a vacancy in Florida, and Ron's going to have to make that decision, and he'll make the right decision. I also know that Laura's got so many other things. I mean, she's got so many other things. People want her to be on television. They want to give her contracts. Her predominant thought is our country and her family. Those are her thoughts. But she's got so many other things that she's talking about.
Mr. President.
All right, that is President-elect Donald Trump talking about and making big news about, I think, school mandates of vaccines. That's actually not something that the federal government does or can do. That is a state requirement. So states have the authority to determine if they will require schools to mandate vaccines. However, theoretically, that could be changed with a federal law that no school that receives any sort of federal assistance, no state can mandate a vaccine. President Trump saying he doesn't like vaccines. Here in Wisconsin, the rule is you do have what's known as a conscience exemption. It's not just a medical exemption to getting, the MMR vaccine or COVID vaccine or anything like that. You don't need to prove like you're allergic to the vaccine or anything like that. You could just say, as an act of conscience, I don't want my kids getting vaccinated. Also, the idea that Laura Trump should be appointed to the United States Senate. Marco Rubio, of course, leaving to become Secretary of State. Ron DeSantis, governor of Florida. The thinking there is that what he is going to do, now that it seems as though Pete Hegseth has weathered the storm and he is going to be confirmed as defense secretary, DeSantis is going to be term limited out of the governor's mansion in 2026. The thinking is that he would very likely appoint somebody who's not going to run for that term when it comes up in 2026, and that DeSantis would run for the Senate so he can stay in politics, because ultimately I think what he wants is to run for the presidency. You are listening to the Dan O'Donnell Show. We'll be back to wrap it up in just a second.
If you already know football or you want to learn more, listen to the Mark Belling Football Preview and Picking Contest every week on News Talk 1130 WISN. Mark, along with football handicapping expert Mike Merlette, dissect the most interesting games. Plus, a listener can pick a game for a chance to win a $100 gift card.
The Mark Belling Football Preview and Picking Contest is presented by Holiday Automotive of Fond du Lac, featuring hundreds of new and pre-owned vehicles, plus impeccable customer service. It's worth the trip. HolidayAutomotive.com.
Landlords, property flippers, DIY, ladies and gentlemen. The in-stock vinyl window selection that you'll find at Lisbon Storm Screen and Door, get this, is larger than 5 big box stores combined. No waiting 4 to 6 weeks. When you need a solid value on vinyl windows, and you need them now, we have what you need today. And at the hands-down best prices you'll find, because we buy a ton of them. We know the demand is there, and we get ahead of the game so you can save big. We have more sizes than anyone, and if you need custom sizes or different colors or grids, we can take care of your needs. Now, these are value windows, but don't forget we also carry the highest quality Marvin windows in stock in more sizes and color combinations than anyone. We cater to every price point. This is David Wilhelm with Lisbon Storm Screen and Door. Come see what's in store, because we are without a doubt your clear choice for more.
Your clear choice for more. Lisbon Storm Screen and Door.
Find out more at lisbonstorm.com.
Hi, this is Nick from Metro Milwaukee Homebuyer, and if you want to sell your house fast for cash, contact us today. We are a local family business, A+ with the BBB, and we always treat you right. Visit MetroMilwaukeeHomebuyer.com to get your fair as-is cash offer today.
Do you have children under the age of 18? Have more than $50,000 in assets? Without a proper estate plan, the government will create one for you. Learn more on Your Hometown Lawyer from Mielek Law, Saturday at 3 on WISN. Visit MieleklawWI.com. And remember, fail to plan, plan to fail.
So how do you underpromise and still get the job? We believe in our hearts we're going to do great work for you. We're just really careful about making unrealistic promises. At Semper Fi, we refuse to set the bar higher than we can jump. But be assured, that's the goal. To do all we can to jump as high as possible to try to exceed your expectations. We're looking to break records. That's how you win over customers, get really great referrals, and build a great business. When you're making a decision to hire an exterior remodeling company, character, integrity, and the feeling that the people you're about to hire are truly eager to show you how good they are should stand at the top of your list. This is Brad Youngluth with Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, your local, veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company. For your new roof, siding, window and door installation, or masonry work, you can count on Semper Fi to keep you safe, warm, and dry.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper Fi.
Hello, I'm Joseph, owner of EWH University, where we help small businesses grow. Tune into WISN every Sunday at 11 a.m. and visit EWHUniversity.com to learn more. That's EWHUniversity.com.
Life takes a toll on our bodies. No way around it. Whether it's sitting hours on end at your computer or working a physical job, over time, your body pays the price. There is, however, an effective way to turn back the clock on pain. Relief Factor. Developed by doctors, Relief Factor helps support your body's response to inflammation. The difference, instead of masking pain, Relief Factor helps eliminate it for good. And it's 100% drug-free. If the pains that come with living a full life are affecting you, do as so many others have. Turn back the clock on pain with Relief Factor. Their 3-week quick start is just $19.95, less than $1 a day. When you feel good, it's amazing how much more you get out of life. So visit ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4-RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF. Try it for only $19.95. While we can't stop aging, not yet, we can stop pain. Turn back the clock with Relief Factor.
Portions of the following program were pre-recorded.
This is what matters. This is beyond X's and O's. This is the difference mutual respect makes. This is what character looks like. This is what defines us in Wisconsin. This is sportsmanship. School sports. It's not the outcome that matters most, but the way the games are played. This message presented by the Wisconsin Interscholastic Athletic Association and the Wisconsin Athletic Directors Association.
No radio handy?
No problem. Listen to WISN's live audio stream 24/7 via the web. Just click on the Listen Online tab at newstalk1130.com.
Conservative thought, not just talk. It is the Dan O'Donnell Show. Packers in Sunday Night Football just dominated the Seattle Seahawks. I, for one, don't think Seattle is all that good. I don't really think anybody in that NFC West is very good. Someone's got to win that division, however. It's either going to be them or the LA Rams. But the Packers, I think, solidified their case that the NFC Championship is almost certainly going to be won by one of 4 teams. The Lions, the Vikings, the Eagles, or the Packers. I don't see any other team even close to that conversation. Packers defense got 7 sacks on a decent offensive line in Seattle, but they got to Geno Smith early. They got to him often. That is great to see. Bringing the blitz, didn't need to bring the blitz on an excessive number of downs. Offensively, Josh Jacobs and the offensive line, the running game continues to be an absolute revelation. A lot of people were second-guessing the idea not to re-sign Aaron Jones, who is a Packer for life. I mean, to me, this is not a Brett Favre scenario where Favre went to the Vikings and everybody hated him for a while. Aaron Jones is a beloved figure in Green Bay and always will be, and wanted to play his entire career in Green Bay, and he's having a very good season in Minnesota. But from a pure football standpoint, Josh Jacobs right now is a better football player. He is a better running back than Aaron Jones, and the Packers offense is a better offense with Josh Jacobs than it was with Aaron Jones. That was a very good offense last year. The Packers wide receivers, that shoestring catch by Romeo Doubs, man, you just wish his head was as talented as his hands are, right? He's the guy who was complaining. He got suspended. He had a little of Keyshawn-itis, just give me the damn ball. He's getting involved. Dontavian Wicks still has the dropsies. Jaden Reed is probably the best receiver. He has a tendency to disappear for long stretches of the game. But The Packers' special teams looked good. It looks like they're peaking at the right time. They're playing very good football when you want them to be playing very good football, and they're almost certainly not going to win the division, which I don't mind. Sure, that means they have to play road games, but the last time the Packers won the Super Bowl, they did so as the last seed, and they got hot in December and stayed hot right through to February. Dan O'Donnell Show, back tomorrow.